Welcome, and thank you for attending the 22nd Annual Members Business Meeting. We keep adding a word in the middle. It used to be annual meeting, and then it was annual business meeting. Then Carolyn says, but it's the meeting of and for the members. So it's now the annual members business meeting, which is quite appropriate. So I think I know all of you, you know all of me, but I'm Bob Fishbag, the current president of Chatham Marconi Maritime Center. And we're gonna, this is the agenda for the day. As they say on the radio business, live and unrehearsed. So I'm gonna rely heavily on our recorder and editor, Ron Ferris, to make this look beautiful after we're all done. But we'll have the secretary's call to order and report, treasurer's report, and then I have a few remarks to make. Then we will go into the nominating committee report and election, and Carolyn and I will tag team that. That's the unrehearsed part. And then our new executive director, Jennifer Falvey. For those of you who I think everybody's now met Jennifer, coming through the door, has a few remarks for us. And then we will close out and have continue our social hour. From the happy chatter that I heard as I was coming into the room, obviously the social part has started, so that's good. We will resume that. So I will call on David Smith.
In the back, based on what we have received from sign-ins, I declare there's a quorum present. So,
good to go. You have on the takeaway rack, there were minutes of last year's meeting. If anyone wanted to know what happened last year, or like some of us who are getting older, who needs a prompt to remember what happened last year. And they are on file and available on our website, along with the meeting report. With the exception of one hiccup with the Massachusetts Cultural Council, where we were about to seek money to pay for the Music on the Veranda sessions this summer, and we got a notice just before it was time to go turn the paperwork in that due to the federal withdrawal of federal funds for cultural activities from Massachusetts, they were postponing or suspending the program. That particular, it's a festivals grants program within the Massachusetts Cultural Council. But other than that, our funders are primarily family foundations, which have not been influenced or negatively influenced so far by the perturbations in the federal level funding for arts and culture and so forth. As I mentioned, we've done well with sponsorships. We're always interested in having more sponsors, particularly business sponsors. Happy to partner with anyone who shares our interest in the mission. Improving operating cash flow, we've kind of beat on that a little bit, between Julie and me. Jennifer's going to talk more about that, but our membership counts have drifted down in the last few years. We need to look at the value-added proposition and strengthen the museum and education operations, which Jennifer is already working on, and look at instituting some of the special events we used to do. The Ed Fooey Speaker Series, which is a major event, we used to do a classic movie night in conjunction, based on the exhibit theme of the year, in conjunction with the Orpheum Theater downtown. We have gotten away from that, partly because of lack of direction, partly because of lack of volunteer hands and minds to work on things. So that's going to be a little bit of part of Jennifer's challenge, and she'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And then there's the board's responsibility, the effective use of resources. Make sure that we've empowered the staff, empowered our executive director to do things, and that we are seeing that our volunteers are engaged and themselves feel empowered. So we've got some challenges at the board level that we are going to be working on this year and in the future. Before I leave that, any general questions? At the board level, I put everybody to sleep. Sorry about that. Now the reason we're really here, we have a nominating committee under the bylaws every year is appointed by the president. This year the president elected to just have the center's officers perform the role of nominating committee. So that was would be me, Carolyn Cragen, Julie Durney, David Smith, and Violet Desolate, who is driving me nuts because she keeps looking around them. The monitor. Okay. Carolyn, you want to join me up here? And Ron, you can edit this part out. Do you have a camera set up for the middle of the room as well? Thought so. We have 4 directors who will be outgoing. And I speak both in terms of personality and their status. And I don't believe any of them are here today. I want to acknowledge first.
Julie's here.
Yes, but these 3 are not.
Oh,
I'm gonna
gotcha.
do these 3, and we'll save the good part for last. You can edit that out too. The first director is Chuck Bartlett, Charles J. Bartlett. The Chatham Marconi Maritime Center Board of Directors of the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center gratefully acknowledges your valuable contributions as a director during the past 23 years. Chuck was a charter member here. As an active member of the Board of Directors, officer, and volunteer, your generous efforts contributed to our financial viability, unique museum exhibits, and novel education programs that have made Chatham Marconi Maritime Center a valued cultural resource for both residents and visitors to Cape Cod. We further affix our signatures in acknowledgement of your pivotal role as a founder and charter member of the center, and with gratitude for your work as co-creator of the center's museum, originator of the center's STEM education program, board president, executive director, chairperson of the education committee, and education director. Your dedication to the center for more than 2 decades has helped to strategically position the center for sustainable growth. I will note that Chuck and Stephanie have moved off Cape, up outside of Boston to be closer to their children. They still have a house here in North Chatham. They will be coming down early next month, and hopefully at the board meeting we have slated for July 17th, we'll be able to present the plaque to Chuck in person. Would you like to read that one?
Sure.
We'll tag team these.
But first, I'm going to take this opportunity to say a little bit more about Chuck, partly because when I was retiring as superintendent of Monomoy, I got a phone call in March, and it was Chuck saying, "Would you like to be on the board?" And it was the first thing that anybody had asked me to do in retirement, which I thought I had no idea what I would be doing. And that was in 2013. And here I am in 2025. So the other thing that I wanted to mention about Chuck, when we were doing the interviews for the Oral History Project, when we talk about the founders and the importance of volunteers, one of the striking parts of the interview with Chuck and Stephanie was when he talked about the need to raise funds for the initial steps in making Chatham Marconi Maritime Center come together. And we all know Chuck. It's not the salesman type of person, very genteel and charming in his quiet sort of way, but he had to go out and raise money. And it was striking to me in that interview how central to the process and the success of Chatham Marconi, that stepping outside of your comfort zone as a volunteer or as a board member, how critical that was to the establishment and the success of Chatham Marconi. So hopefully the rest of us will follow in those footsteps of those founders who did those things that never in their lives did they think they would be stuck doing, and yet were very good at them once they had to do them. The next commendation, and this is someone that I worked with very closely, especially during COVID, to help us survive, so my great personal gratitude, in addition to Chatham Marconi's, to Elizabeth McCart. The Board of Directors of Chatham Marconi Maritime Center gratefully acknowledge your valuable contributions as a director during the past 7 years. As an active member of the Board of Directors, officer, and volunteer, your generous efforts contributed to our financial viability, unique museum exhibits, and novel education programs that have made Chatham Marconi Maritime Center a valued cultural resource for both residents and visitors to Cape Cod. We further affix our signatures with gratitude for your work as chair of the museum committee, docent and exhibit developer, as coordinator of the Chatham Marconi Speaker Series, the Ed Fooey Speaker Series, and other successful special events, and for the Center's Oral History Project. Your dedication has helped to strategically position the Center for sustainability and future growth. And my Liz story is that I was president and she was in charge of running the speaker events, and I would be standing like this, and we would be managing the time, and I would be getting the stink eye from Liz over by the equipment, and I would be going, let me see what I can do, and trying to move things more smoothly. So it was a good team effort, and I appreciate her contributions during the time that I was president.
The third outgoing director, we're doing this a little bit out of order from what's on the slide, is Captain Jim Fitzpatrick. Jim joined us 3 years ago and is elected to retire from the board. He's retiring also from a 20-something year career as a professor at the Massachusetts Maritime Academy. So he's changing directions in his life at this point. The Board of Directors of the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center gratefully acknowledges your valuable contributions as a director during the past 3 years. As a member of the Board of Directors, your efforts contributed to our financial viability, unique museum exhibits, and novel education programs that have made Chatham Marconi Maritime Center a valued cultural resource for both residents and visitors to Cape Cod. We further affix our signatures with gratitude for helping to strategically position the center for sustainable growth. I should mention that the further affix our signatures, all of the accommodations, the actual accommodations, are signed by the current slate of officers. As you will see in the next presentation, which we will do for real here. Hold that. Julie Durney, come on down.
You are number one.
Where do you want us, Ron?
Wherever you want.
All right. Carol, you can get on the other side over here.
Oh.
Would you like to-
See, we didn't practice.
I think you gotta read it, you gotta be at the microphone, somebody.
Oh, okay. Well, Carolyn, you can go ahead. Wait.
You want to read it?
All right, I'll read it. I'll read it. You handshake.
I won't drop
We'll
it.
put the good-looking people on center stage. How's that? Put the good-looking people on center stage. I like that. That's good. All right. Julie A. Durney. The Board of Directors of the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center gratefully acknowledges your valuable contributions as a director and treasurer during the past 4 years. As an active member of the Board of Directors, officer, and volunteer, your generous efforts contributed to our financial viability, unique museum exhibits, and novel education programs that have made Chatham Marconi Maritime Center a valuable cultural resource for both residents and visitors to Cape Cod. We further affix our signatures with gratitude for your work as treasurer and on the Audit and Finance, Investment, and Development Committees. As treasurer and chairperson of the Audit and Finance and Investment Committees, you successfully reconciled the center's Byzantine reserve accounts, brought its tax filings up to professional standards, resulting in substantial improvements in charitable organization quality ratings, simultaneously reduced tax preparation costs, and restructured the center's investments for greater sustained yield. Your dedication has greatly helped to strategically position the center for sustainable future growth.
Thank you.
And thank you. All right, thank you. And we will catch up, well, this actually worked out rather well. The side anecdote here, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story, is that Julie's commendation was the only one that was actually ready to go. So we were able to sign it this morning, get it framed, and present it. We will present the other three as opportunities present themselves to do that over the next month or so. The nomination process, and I'm not sure what, Carol and I have, like I said, live and unrehearsed. We have let me back up a notch. Under our bylaws, the board is structured is such that a third of the directors are supposed to be replaced every 3 years. And we have a board that runs from maybe 15 to 20 people, so divide by 3. We have a class of directors that whose terms will expire next year, whose terms will expire in 2 years. These folks are not standing for election. This is for information, your information, as to who's on the board and what their roles are and how long they will be on the board. Of the retiring directors this year, whose terms are up this year, John Cotnam has elected to, or had requested to serve on the board for 1 more year. Now that's a little weird, but manageable because Julie is leaving the board a little early. So we have an unfilled term that John can fill. And Carolyn has volunteered to serve another full 3-year term.
This is true.
You notice she backed into the corner as I put this up. So they will be standing for election when we take this vote. And I would like to introduce our new director candidates who are standing for 3-year terms.
Turn that microphone towards you, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Rich Bauman, would you like to get up and say a few words?
Well,
I mean,
hi, I'm Rich Chatham. For those
Stand
who
up to the
don't know
microphone.
me.
whoop, Rich.
Time out.
Oh, you want me here?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has to.
What's the coffee cup?
Oh, all right, well, that's a whole nother story. We'll see if I can pull this off. Hi, everybody. My name's Rich Bauman. I'm been here for, 4 years now, I think? Nancy's agreeing with me. That's my wife in the corner. And we have really enjoyed what we've been doing here, and I've learned a lot about the museum. I had my first foot in the door from J. Richard Dick Lorraine back in 1977 when my parents bought his house on Cedar Street. And so he taught me a lot, sold me some of his ham equipment at the same time, and I learned about the museum. But, you know, from that point forward, we've been back and forthers to New Jersey in the winter and up here in the summer. And I just really, really appreciate people's confidence in thinking about me and putting my name forward. And I really look forward to working with everybody, and I'll do my best. Any questions?
Thank you. We had the we have the directors' candidates' biographies on our website for the last week or so. But for those who haven't read it, Rich has been very active in the museum and on the museum exhibit committee with the last two, working with David on the last two major exhibits. Jim Gessner? Jim, would you like to say a few words?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm Jim Gessner. My wife and I have been part-time residents here for over 40 years, so we've driven by this place countless times and come on an annual basis. I'm very, very pleased to be able to contribute and to join this organization. We've always been impressed because it has a wonderful educational opportunity for the community. It has a very interesting history and has very strong connections with amateur radio. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. John and Susan Eldridge, do you wish to come up individually or as a team? I would, while they're making their way up here, I would mention that both Jim Gessner and John and Susan have been quite actively involved in the center and supporting the center for the last decade, a little more, 2013-ish, 2014-ish in there. So I will let them introduce themselves to you.
Thank you, Bob. I'm John Eldridge, and probably part of my interest in radio began when I had my great-grandfather's transatlantic Zenith shortwave. So I'd spend a lot of time trying to figure out what country I was listening to, what language, and unfortunately it runs on a 90-volt battery, and they don't make that particular tube to knock the voltage down. So it still works, but that's sort of my story as well as what Bob just introduced with my son's involvement here.
Hi, Susan Eldridge. I came here about 30-some years ago and enjoying the Cape and became an Eldridge. And my first introduction to the Marconi was, again, my son going for his Eagle Scout project and worked on the antenna trail. So he enjoyed that a lot, and so then I really got involved with that. So I'm in the science field and really still enjoy things that involve science, so that's it.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, officer candidates, and thank you, everyone, for saying a few words. Live and unrehearsed. I realized I didn't give you any warning about that, so sorry. But I appreciate it, and we appreciate it. Officer candidates for the coming one-year term. I am standing again for president, Carolyn for vice president. David Smith is standing for vice president's position. Violet, as Julie has mentioned, Violet Desilets will be replacing Julie as treasurer. Violet has been, as you will recall, our assistant treasurer since the board appointed her to that position back in December. So she now knows where all the skeletons are buried and which ones to dig up and which ones not to dig up. And Tom England, who we have not formally introduced here, has volunteered to assume, in addition to his role as director, the additional role of secretary and clerk for the center. So that is our elected slate. Did you want to say any words, Tom? You don't necessarily have to. I don't think I need to. You don't need to say any words. Okay.
You just have to.
He's just write them down later. Okay, that's good. So at this point, I would call for the vote. Am I allowed to do that? Yes. Parliamentarian? Yes, ma'am. So I would propose the slate of slate of nominees that I've just put before you. And do I have a second?
Second.
And do I have a vote for yes? And all those opposed? And hearing none, I will declare that the proposed slate is elected. So we're good to go. And now that we have, just so you know what's going to happen here, we have a process where the officers put together an orientation session for the new board members, and we'll also put together a cheat sheet for Tom, or I guess David has probably already told you what you need to know as secretary coming to the officers. And between now and the next board meeting, which is scheduled for July 17th, we will do an orientation for the new directors. Give them all the background material and the financials and the policies, procedures, and what they need to know to start making decisions here. I would now like to turn the floor over to our executive director, Jennifer Falvey. And I'll go hide in the background somewhere. Here we go.
I can't see. There it is. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm very thrilled to be here. I'm going to start off with a little what I call Falvey facts, because you probably have no idea who I am, and I'll give you a little short version. I was born and raised right outside of Boston. I ran the events team for a financial institution for 23 years. I spent more time on a plane than I ever care to ever again. I moved to Chatham in 2015. I was a local business owner with a shop on Main Street for 5 years, and I have been the vice president of the Chatham Merchants Association for the past 4 years. 2024, I spent most of the year of 8 months horizontal. I broke my ankle 3 spots in January, and then I broke my kneecap in 2 spots in October. Yeah, so it gave me a lot of time to think, and basically all of the above is what ultimately brought me to the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center. I had a year to think of what I wanted to do when I grew up, finally. And I realized I wanted to get back to what I really loved and what I knew most, and that is focusing on relationship building, events, project management, and working with a team of motivated individuals. And that's what I have found here. I've been at the center for just short of 2 months, so my honeymoon period is over. I've been listening, watching, and absorbing how the center functions, and now it's time for me to get to work. So my focus for 2025 and 2026 is the volunteer program. As a bunch of us have said, we cannot run the center without the volunteers. They are the backbone of Chatham Marconi. This must become a priority to attract more volunteers, not just for the museum staffing, but for other projects as well. There's a core group of volunteers that seem to show up for everything. We need to expand and grow this group so that the burden isn't falling on just a few. And we actually have a brand new volunteer here today, Ann Rose, in the back of the room, my first volunteer that I have recruited. So I'm on my way. Membership enhancements. We cannot run this place without our members and donors. You are so valuable, and we need to make sure you all feel valued. We are looking into enhanced experiences and opportunities for our members and donors to enjoy, and will hopefully increase your engagement with the center. Operations. We need to streamline some of our procedures and efficiencies. We need to think smarter, not harder. With a little guidance and forward thinking, we will get there. I'm in this for the long haul, and we need to make sure everyone around us is as well. Sustainability. Development. Huge capital word. This is what the next few years must be about. Expanding our reach, getting more folks involved financially in the center, not just here in Chatham, but throughout the Cape and even over the bridge. And most importantly, we have to take the time to acknowledge and thank those around us. Thank you. For a few folks that are not here, but behind the scenes folks, Max Smith. If you don't know him, stop by the museum. He's there just about every day. He's running it. He does a fantastic job. Melissa and Donna. Thank you for, without you both organizing all of the docents, the museum's guests would not be getting such a unique and personalized experience. So thank you, both of you. To Ron, for answering all of my ridiculous questions, constant questions about our website, our registration event process, and our programs. Thank you for answering my phone calls and my emails. For Sandy Porter, her assistance with the day-to-day operations and membership and development has been invaluable. For Dr. Vicki Smith, the Textmark program is a success because of her dedication and passion for creating these classes. I cannot wait to see how it grows in the coming years. And to all of the volunteers in this room, thank you. If we didn't have you, I would have to start teaching Oliver how to become a volunteer, and his fees are very expensive. Finally, I would like to thank Bob, Carolyn, David, Julie, and Violet for putting your trust in me. I am so excited for what our future holds here at the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center. Thanks.
Thank you, Jen. Just a few closing remarks. And then we will adjourn. I want to mention that this year's Music on the Veranda series starts this afternoon at 4:30 out here on the veranda. Thanks to David Smith's good offices, we have a local group, jazz group called Fine and Mellow, with Frank Giasulo leading it. And that'll be the first program. The program, because this is a business meeting, and as I mentioned, the Massachusetts Cultural Council kind of had to withdraw from our funding scheme. We will be running it on a donations basis, and we'll see how that works out. But last year we also used some of the business sponsors' funding, but we did it overtly. We told them that's what we were going to do. This year we may well wind up doing that again a little bit as a way to subsidize what we have here. We do have one group, Old Exit 11 on July 30th, which refused to be paid. So I said they can put their own donation jar out too. And they also said they'd come back one more time if we needed them, which I thought that was fine. That was a good donation on their part. Tomorrow afternoon, there is, is the takeaway rack still out there, Ann? Okay. Okay, there's a Take One rack, and there's a little press release. One of our directors emeritus, Barbara Cottenham, has teamed with Michelle Maloney-Kitts locally of Friends of Chatham Waterways, and Tom Quill, and the three of them have spent the better part of, it's been 7 years or a decade or more, working with the town to clean up the triangle of land between Riders Cove and Route 28 and Riders Cove Road across the street here, and turn it into a dedicated conservation area for the town. And the ribbon cutting ceremony for that is tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock across the street by the Powerhouse building. And our role in all of that, other than Barbara being a director emeritus, is that they weren't in a position to set themselves up as a 501c3, so they asked us to essentially hold their funds because people were donating money to them. They couldn't, the mechanism is such that the town could not collect those donations for that specific purpose. It would have to go into the general fund and get used to fill potholes or something. Does the town fill potholes? I believe they do. In any event, they didn't have a mechanism, so we provided for them that mechanism to collect and manage their reserve, which they now have been actively spending down on for the last few months as they finish up the project over there. So part of the thank you for that is there's a permanent sign that has been added over there that talks about what went on this side of the street with the center and the history of the Chatham Radio WCC, so that visitors attracted over there will get some information about why they should come across the street. I don't encourage them to walk across Route 28, but they will have we'll have some permanent signage over there, which is good advertising, next to the conservation trail. So 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, if you're interested. And there's a press release. The flyer that I'm waving around is a press release. There's some in the stack over there that you might find interesting. And our speaker series continues on July 10th. We'll be doing two speaker series events in July and 2 in August. We double up in the summer, and then they go back to the first Thursday of the month for the rest of the year. I want to say that on behalf of the officers and the board, we are very pleased to have Jennifer with us. She didn't mention the size of the fire hose we were asking her to drink from to absorb all this knowledge and pick up the threads. But she's done so very well and very quickly, and we're looking forward to having a very efficient operation. As I said, that will now free up the officers and the board to work on more strategic matters. So with that, I would like, well, first, are there any questions? Final questions? We have a short reception. We're not allowed to call it a reception? Social event. So if you haven't met Jennifer, this is your opportunity to introduce yourself and chat with her, and you know, blow in her ear if you've got good ideas for us, or any ideas. We'll take ideas. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning the meeting? I'm dying to ask. Anybody opposed?